Hello, everyone. Good evening or good morning if in the Western countries, wherever you are. Well, recently a video has gone viral all over the world internationally where we have found at the UN. Manipur is being discussed. And I, being a proud Indian, I have recently what happened also in France, this in the European Parliament, it was taken up and this matter. And I remember coming on national television and me saying, well, it is an internal matter, and what happens in India happens over here, and our government is well self-sufficient to resolve matters over here. Why is it being discussed over there? And I remember seeing this very, very clearly over there. But now it is being discussed in the UN, and we have a representative, a member who is from Manipur, an Indian origin, who's an American now, who settled in America. And we heard her speech, and there was a lot of questions which were asked by a lot of people on social media raising. And she's been very kind to spare some time, and she has graced some time for me. So I would like to clarify certain things, and I want to be in conversation with her regarding the talk that she has in the UN. Florence. In fact, by now you all would know Florence. She needs no introduction, and she did not need any introduction any further. But now, of course, Florence is the trending talk right now. Florence, thank you, and thank you for spending time, and welcome to my show.
Thank you, Major Shah. I'm very honored to be on your show. Thank you.
That's very sweet of you. Florence, first tell us, we heard it being discussed in the UN, and it's actually, I personally feel it's an internal matter of our country, of India. So do you think it is fair to discuss an internal matter of any nation on a public forum internationally, like in UN discussed?
Major Shah, thank you so much for the question. I know it feels like, at least from our vantage point, that this has gone viral, and you're kind to say that as well. But the truth of the matter we find is that not many people understand what is happening in Manipur in India today. So I just want to give your viewers just a little bit of background, if I may. So as you know, as you may not know or may know, I'm originally from the state of Manipur. I was born in Imphal in Manipur. My father was an IPS officer, 1973 cadre of the UP cadre. So growing up, we lived all over UP. I am, as you said, an American citizen right now, and I live in the US. But all my family is still in India. So even though I'm not an Indian citizen, I'm certainly a daughter of India, and I'm a daughter of the Guite clan of one of the tribes that is under the Kuki umbrella that many of you may have heard about. So on May 3rd, my own family home was burned. A mob came into my neighborhood, burnt the church that is behind our house, and my mother, who is 77 years old and a widow, was one of the ones that was hunted out of her house, and she got shelter with a Meitei Hindu person. So there are good people in the world, thank God for that, and she is safe, and my family is safe. But this is a matter that very much impacts me personally and many of the diaspora from India. And even though we're American citizens, we have a right to talk about the things that affect our families. And India, as you know, does have a lot of sons and daughters all over the world, and we do care about India. India is also a member of the world stage. So there is, in any democracy, it is completely and perfectly valid for anyone within that democracy to speak up. And of course, outside of the country, certainly we are not an authoritarian country in India, and people will criticize India, absolutely, just as India is free to criticize any other country. But right now, we undertook this journey and this trip to Geneva because we wanted to raise awareness of what is going on in Manipur in India.
And
does it answer your question?
Yeah, it does, but I still want to know. I'm very curious to know about, you had this talk in the sidelines. The agenda in Geneva was something else altogether. You had this talk in the sidelines. part of an organization. Could you tell us a bit more about that organization and a bit about?
Yes. Let me explain a little bit more. Frankly, I in my day job in the U.S. is I'm a technology entrepreneur and investor. I own a data analytics firm. I'm a adjunct professor at the University of Texas in Dallas. I teach a class in product management. So being in the role of advocating on behalf of injustices is not a role that is something that I have sought or that I want at all. But I found myself in this role. And so I've had to learn a lot about this myself. So I'm not surprised by the confusion that I see online after this event. So the way the UN works, of course, the members of the UN are different countries. So India is a member, as are many other countries, including my home citizenship country of the United States. So any UN session is formally attended by member states. But when they say states, they mean the country. So the formal sessions of the UN are attended by different states, and different NGOs have different events during the different sessions. Right now, what's ongoing in Geneva is the 54th session of the United Nations Human Rights Commission. And during the course of that, different NGOs can and do hold side events for different causes that they believe in. We've been working on this side event along with our coalition partners, the World Evangelical Council, the Justice for All, the Indian American Muslim Council, the Hindus for Human Rights, and a few other organizations for quite a few weeks and months. And we were able to get a slot, which is also a very difficult thing to do these days. We were able to get a slot and put together a side panel. So that's kind of the backdrop. I hope that's helpful.
Okay, but tell me, why only India being discussed over there? Why only Manipur and India? Why not? There is so much of suffering happening all over the world with different countries, with different places as well. Why not talk about that as well?
Absolutely. And there are many other events. This event was focused on Manipur, and certainly this was an event that so when this happened, me and a number of diaspora from Manipur in the United States and in Canada, we formed a nonprofit organization called North American Manipur Tribal Association. And our goal was to raise awareness of the situation in Manipur, and that is what this side panel was focused on. There are a number of many over 100 plus events going on within the UN during the 54th session, this session that is ongoing, and many other topics are being spoken about at the UN.
Okay, Florence, and also the video which went viral, we saw your speech, in fact, and you spoke at length. And there was a gentleman from the Maite community who spoke, but what a lot of people observed, and he did not really, he didn't get enough time. And the moderator kept saying, "You have 3 minutes." He said, "You have 2 minutes." "You have 1 minute," and then his mic was switched off. In fact, it was rather shocking to see that. So,
Oh, yes. Let me clarify. No one has the ability to turn off a mic at these events. The way the room is set up, every person that is an audience member does have a mic in front of them. The panel discussion that was put together was a panel discussion between me, Reem Al-Salem, who is a special rapporteur at the United Nations, and Ms. Hena Zuberi of Justice for All. Mr. Wissam Al-Salihi was moderating the event. And of course, we also had a video recorded message from Mr. Nuri Turkle of the US International Religious Freedom group. And so the format, and I think we've put this the flyer for the event online as well, and perhaps if this is on YouTube, Major Shah, you can share that in the notes for this conversation. That is laid out in the flyer for the event. So the moderator kicked us off, and Mr. Nuri Turkle spoke a few words, and I think after that I spoke, and then Ms. Henna spoke, and then Reem Al Salem, Ms. Al Salem spoke in the event, and after that, after the panel completed their remarks, we opened up the floor, or Mr. Al-Salahi opened up the floor to questions. And we had a number of different questions from different audience members before the gentleman from, can you remind me what his name was? Mr. Athoba.
He was from the Maite community.
His name is Mr. Athoba. He raised his hand, and Mr. Al-Salahi called on him to ask a question. However, I think when he was given the mic, he might have been mistaken about the nature of the event, but instead of asking a question, he started giving a speech. And at that point, at the UN, the event was from 4 to 5, and we had reached the 5 o'clock mark. That was a 3-minute, 2-minute, 1 minute that he was telling him about, because we were going to get kicked out of there by the event organizers. In fact, Mr. Athoba was a little belligerent, or was very keen to make his points. Let's say he was very keen to make his points, and at one point, the organizers had to come in and kind of try to calm him down and explain, the rules of the panel.
Okay, because many people who were actually perturbed. They felt that if the UN is inviting someone to attend a program and to be a speaker, and the person is not given adequate time.
I mean, let's be very clear. The UN neither invited me nor invited him. The UN does not invite individual people to speak, even if people are part of an NGO. The UN is an organization that has countries as members, and those are the only, the representatives of the countries are the only ones that the UN would ever invite to anything. This was a side panel that we organized along with a number of other nonprofit organizations. So I think we need to get the terminology correct. We can discuss issues, but there's no point in arguing about or discussing things that just don't make sense.
Right. No, you have put a lot of things in. You made me understand. I was myself quite worked up, quite worried about it. I was like, why? This is being unfair. Like many people on groups on social media, like, this is unfair. Like, yes, I felt so. Until now, you have clarified it. So I was feeling this is unfair. If you have been invited to come and speak, so you should be fair to both the sides. And now, secondly, I would like to ask you that, a person, say, I would use the term Mayank. Mayank in Manipur would be like an outsider, right? Like I would be a Mayank. A person in Delhi has very limited understanding about the northeast part of India per se, in general. And I'm being very, very honest about that, very, very frank. So when people in Delhi or in Mumbai or in Bangalore, they have limited understanding about Manipur. Like very few people would know that among the Maite also, they would be Sanamais, they would be Pangals, they would be Maite Christians, they would be Maite Hindus. And among the cookies, they would be the Thadaos being cookies like the Hokibs,
different tribes, yes. Yeah.
They would be the cookies Omi, they would be the Waipai would be come under cookies Omi. The Paites would be like the Guites, the Sautes, the Waltes. Then they would be Gangtes, who would be Miso. They were different. So they are basically among the Nagas. Also in Manipur, especially, they would be Tangkul, they would be Mao Nagas, Maram Nagas.
Angami, etc. Yes. We lived in Kohima at one point, so I'm familiar with the Nagas. Yep.
Yeah, Rengma. They would be in Nagaland, right? So in Delhi, there's limited understanding about the tribal affinity and the various tribes over in India itself.
Can you give me a second? Hold on. Sorry, Major. Give me a second, okay?
Sure. Right.
Sorry, it's very busy and rooms are in high demand here.
I totally understand.
Go ahead. Yes.
I'll quickly take a last couple of minutes. So they have very limited understanding within India itself about our own. Manipur is part of a state in our country. So when people within India have limited understanding of Manipur, like in 1993, there was a very famous the the Pangal and the Pangals again are Maite Muslims, and
Mhm.
the Maite Hindu. There was a clash in '94. There was a Naga cookie clash in '97,
Mhm.
'98. There was this. There was Thadao speaking cookies and the cookies all. They had
Mhm.
clashed. They were driven into trash and food. So these clashes had happened. They were ethnic. They had it had a, it's a history of ethnic clashes.
Mhm.
Now, a foreigner, for example, would
Mhm.
when Indian has limited understanding, what kind of an understanding can we expect from a foreigner on
Mhm.
the northeast part of India affairs or the Manipur affairs?
Mhm. You'd be surprised. People that are in the advocacy world, that are watching human rights violations, they're very knowledgeable about a lot of things. And so there is a lot more information. I understand the position of a lot of people in India. Until my own house was burned, I have to say I was shamefully unaware of the things going on in India and in Manipur. And I say so much in my speech, and I'm very sincere about that. I really did not know anything that was going on. And since then, a lot of what I have learned has disturbed me terribly. I think the rest of India and all Indians have a responsibility, just as the world does, to not sit by and let things happen. And this is what we in the West are trying to do, is to raise awareness within our governments as well, to nudge the Indian government also to speak up and step up, because it is not healthy for a healthy democracy to put its head in the sand and say that there is no problem, which is what we sort of heard from the Indian mission to the permanent mission to the United Nations in New York, when the United Nations came out with a press release on the atrocities in Manipur. And the Indian mission's response was that things are peaceful in Manipur. And as your viewers know, and as I know, and as you know, things are not peaceful in Manipur. So we need, as a democracy in India, we need to be able to look at ourselves in the face and acknowledge all the warts and the messy melange that is India. It is a complicated country. It is a country with a rich history of many different people with many different faiths and many different tribes and ethnicities and languages. And we need to be able to or live together in harmony in India and all over the world. And the dignity of every last Indian person is an honored duty of all Indians to uphold. And so I think before things get much worse, 5 months. My mother has been homeless for 5 months. That is enough. We need things to change.
Very
Need to.
sorry to hear that, Florence. Very, very sorry. Yes, things will change, and I believe the society will not change unless and until we change our own selves. And Florence, before I spoke to you, I had a different perception. But yes, you have put a lot of things, a lot of clarity you have given me, in fact, to think about a lot of things. And I've got intrigued further, and I consider Manipur to be one of my own hometown. I genuinely very concerned about what's happening in Manipur. I have a lot of friends who are Maites, who are Cookies, who are Nagas, and my best friends for that matter. I would tell you, people who would stand by their word, who would give their life for you, people who would be men of principle, very cultured, hardworking, sincere,
And
dedicated.
Major, not to interrupt you, but let me also share. I mean, similarly, I grew up in UP. I've lived all over India, Agra, Aligarh, Mainpuri, Nainital. These are the towns that I grew up in. Because of my father's job, I didn't grow up in Imphal and in Manipur. So I've always loved India much better than it is loving me back right now. And I've spent a lot of my time in the United States, working in technology, defending India and Indians, and kind of our overall culture, because there are a lot of software engineers, as you know, in the U.S., and I've always been I've tried to explain the differences and help Americans understand that Indians are just like anyone else. So I really thank you for. I mean, I really want to echo back to you what you're echoing to me about the Northeast. That I think it's time for all of us to stand together.
Yes, it's time for all of us to stand together and make humanity prevail. And yes, thank you, Florence, for taking your time. And you have made me think further. And I genuinely wish the best for Manipur. And I'm sure the Indian government will work out something, and they will work out some good solution for it. And we need peace brokers. And one last question for you, in fact, before I let
As
you
you
go.
say, as they say, from your lips to God's ears.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Go
One
ahead.
last thing, what kind of a person, what kind of people should be there for breaking peace in Manipur, Florence?
Ultimately, as you'll see on online, there's going to be a lot of criticism about me voicing my thoughts as a foreigner, which they're right. I am an American citizen, so I'm hoping that all the leaders in Manipur and in India, all our administrators, all our IPS officers, our IAS officers, will all step up to the task. It is a difficult task, but it is not an impossible task. This is a world that has seen a lot of difficult atrocities and divisions happen, and we can heal. And I leave it to the good people of Manipur and the good people of India to figure out. We in my small nonprofit and in my personal small way, we're going to do what we can to raise awareness and to continue to support and help the people as we can.
Right. Thank you, Florence. Thank you very much for your time. And let's hope and pray that peace will come to Manipur. And yes, take care. Cheers.
Thanks. Take care. Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.